The Dyatlov Pass incident. Imagine heading out on a hiking trip with some buddies, all geared up and ready to conquer the snowy mountains of Russia. That is exactly what Igor Dyatlov and his group of 9 friends did in 1959. They set off on what was supposed to be an exciting adventure through the Ural Mountains. But things took a turn for the weird. The hikers were experienced and no, they were not some let's go camping and try to make fire with rocks type of group. These were serious adventurers who knew their way around the outdoors. So, when their frozen bodies were found scattered across the snow in various states of undress and in the middle of Russia's Dead Mountain, people were, to say the least, a bit spooked. One person was missing their tongue. Yep, let that sink in. And others had bizarre injuries like cracked skulls and crushed chests that looked like they had been in a high-speed car crash. Some weren't even wearing shoes, which is not what you would expect in a freezing forest. So what happened? Avalanche, military tests, aliens? The theories keep piling up, but the truth is still up in the cold, icy air of the Ural Mountains. The Satagaya family, Tokyo, Japan. A city known for sushi, skyscrapers, and, unfortunately, one of the creepiest unsolved mysteries. It all happened in the quiet neighborhood of Satagaya on a winter night in 2000, when the Miyazawa family, including dad, mom, and their 2 young kids, was brutally murdered in their own home. When police arrived, they discovered a scene that was something straight out of a nightmare. The family was found tied up and stabbed. But what is even more disturbing is what happened after the killer took their lives. They stuck around. Not only did they make themselves comfortable, but they also raided the fridge, used the computer, and even took a bath. Imagine being so calm after such a horrendous act, like you are at a family friend's house, and not a crime scene. No one knows who did it or why, but the bizarre behavior has left people scratching their heads for years. Was it revenge, a random act of violence, or something even darker? We will probably never know, but one thing is for sure. This person had a seriously twisted idea of making themselves at home. The Burari family deaths. This one is absolutely disturbing. In 2018, the Bhatia family in Delhi, India, was found dead. And we are not talking about a quiet passing away in their sleep. The whole extended family of 11 people was discovered hanging from the ceiling, blindfolded, gagged, and tied up. At first, it seemed like a horrifying case of mass murder. But as police started piecing things together, they found diaries filled with rituals and instructions about attaining salvation and meeting God. Apparently, they had been following these eerie practices for years, with every detail written down like a to-do list. And they genuinely believed that once they did the ritual, their deceased father would swoop in and save them from death. But, as you can guess, no ghostly rescue squad showed up. To this day, nobody's really sure if this was a ritual gone horribly wrong or something even stranger. But it is safe to say this isn't your everyday family bonding activity. The Nazca Lines. Out in the dusty plains of Peru, something bizarre stretches out across the landscape. Enormous drawings etched into the ground, known as the Nazca Lines. I mean those giant hummingbirds, monkeys, even people what look like a weird alien with big eyes. And they are not just your average sketches. They are huge, with some stretching nearly the length of 2 football fields. The big question is, who made these? And more importantly, why? Did they have some ancient art contest where they judged drawings based on how many square miles they covered? Or were they just really bored? Historians have some guesses. Some think it was to honor the gods, like sending giant cosmic fan mail. Others say it was a calendar of some kind, or maybe even a map to show where to find water. But the theories go off the deep end, with some suggesting it was a landing strip for alien visitors. Because, of course, why wouldn't it be? The truth is still buried somewhere in the sand, along with the reason why these people chose to turn the desert into their sketchpad. The Solder Children. Christmas Eve, 1945. Most kids were dreaming about presents, but in Fayetteville, West Virginia, the Solder family was living a nightmare. A fire broke out in their home, and while George and Jenny Solder managed to get out with 4 of their 9 kids, 5 of their children were nowhere to be found. But what makes it even stranger is that no remains were ever found in the ashes. That is right. No bones, no nothing. Now, I know what you are thinking. Maybe they burned up. But experts say the fire didn't burn long or hot enough to turn bones to dust. And that is just the start of the weirdness. In the days leading up to the fire, the Sodders experienced some odd occurrences, like a stranger warning George that his house would go up in smoke because of his outspoken criticism of Italian fascism. Then, on the night of the fire, the family ladder that could have helped in the rescue was mysteriously missing, and their phone line had been cut. George and Jenny spent the rest of their lives looking for their missing children, convinced they had been kidnapped. They even put up a billboard with their kids' photos with the hope someone would come forward. But decades later, the fate of the Sodder children is still as murky as the smoke from that tragic night. Flight MH370. Let's talk about a mystery that has got everyone confused till now. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. It took off from Kuala Lumpur on March 8, 2014, bound for Beijing. But somewhere over the South China Sea, it just vanished. Poof. Gone. 239 people on board, and not a trace of the plane was found for days, then months, then years, and now a decade. At first, everyone was looking in the wrong place because the plane had actually made a sharp U-turn, flying completely away from Beijing. Military radar spotted it flying towards the Andaman Islands, but after that, it was anyone's guess. Then, a satellite picked up a series of mysterious pings, the aviation equivalent of butt dialing someone from the afterlife. Using these pings, investigators narrowed down a search area they called the Seventh Arc in the middle of the Indian Ocean, where MH370 was believed to have crashed. They spent years and millions of dollars searching there, but nada. Nothing. So, what happened? Some say the pilot went rogue, while others think it was a slow cabin depressurization that left everyone unconscious as the plane flew on autopilot. And of course, there are the inevitable alien abduction theories. To this day, MH370's fate remains a mystery. D.B. Cooper. Now, if there is one guy who pulled off the ultimate "you can't catch me" move, it is D.B. Cooper. It is 1971, Thanksgiving Eve, and a man going by Dan Cooper hops on a Northwest Orient flight in Portland, Oregon. He is dressed like your average middle-aged guy, minding his own business until he pulls out a briefcase and shows the flight attendant his homemade boom, aka bomb. Cooper didn't panic anyone, though. He just handed over a list of demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a plane ready to take off for Mexico. The authorities met his demands because, well, who wouldn't? And he let the passengers go, but kept the crew hostage. Once they took off again, he did the unthinkable. The guy strapped on a parachute, took his cash, and jumped out of the plane at 10,000 feet in the middle of the night. Did he survive? No one knows. The FBI searched for years, but found only a few of his cash-stuffed bills along a river. Some say he landed and lived out his days as a free man, while others think he is buried somewhere in the woods. To this day, D.B. Cooper remains the only skyjacker never caught, and we can only hope he is living it up in some secret cabin somewhere, still laughing about his legendary escape. The Dupont de Ligonnès family. This one is a bit like a French film noir, but without the dramatic love interest or happy ending. In 2011, the Dupont de Ligonnès family seemed like they had it all. Xavier, his wife Agnes, and their 4 kids lived a picture-perfect life in Nantes, France. But one day, neighbors noticed a strange smell coming from the house, and when the police checked it out, they found the entire family, minus Xavier, buried under the back porch. The scary fact was that there were no signs of a break-in or struggle. The family had just been, well, buried. Xavier, on the other hand, was nowhere to be found. He had apparently written letters to friends claiming he was joining the FBI because, of course, that is the first thing you would think of when your entire family mysteriously disappears. He was even caught on CCTV checking into a budget hotel days after his family was last seen. Rumors flew about why he would do it, with theories ranging from financial trouble to a midlife crisis gone terribly wrong. But no one has ever found him. Some say he is dead, hiding in plain sight, or has started a new life somewhere far from Nantes. Whatever the truth, Xavier left a trail of questions and a terrible mystery that still haunts France: the Phoenix Lights. If you think Arizona's hottest attraction is the Grand Canyon, you're about to get schooled. On March 13th, 1997, residents of Phoenix looked up and saw something they would never forget: a series of massive, eerie lights in the sky forming a perfect V shape. They were brighter, bigger, and moving together in a formation that looked like some kind of alien fleet on a road trip. Eyewitnesses say the lights didn't make a single sound, just silently gliding through the sky like a ghost parade. For days, the whole city buzzed with theories, from it being a secret military test to probably just aliens. The U.S. Air Force eventually came forward and said it was just flares from a training exercise, but locals weren't buying it. If you are a skeptic, you will believe the military. But if you are like most Phoenix residents, you are still looking up every March, just in case the aliens decide to swing by again. Even the state's governor at the time, Fife Symington, couldn't resist the hype. He held a press conference about aliens, with a guy in an alien costume, just to mess with everyone. Whether it was a prank, a cover-up, or real-life ETs paying a visit, the Phoenix Lights remain a bright, shining mystery. The Roanoke Colony. Time to go way back in history for the last one, to the 1500s, when America was still uncharted territory, and British colonists were getting their first taste of roughing it in the New World. In 1587, a group of settlers, led by John White, landed on Roanoke Island, ready to start fresh in this new land. White sailed back to England for supplies, and when he returned 3 years later, he found, well, nothing. The whole colony had vanished. Not a single soul remained, and the only clue they left behind was the word Croatoan, carved into a tree. Sounds spooky, right? Some think the settlers moved to the nearby Croatoan island and assimilated with local tribes. Others believe they fell victim to the harsh elements or were taken by force. And then, of course, there are the wild theories like witchcraft, aliens, you name it. Whatever happened to those settlers, Roanoke became known as the Lost Colony, and the mystery remains unsolved. It is like the world's oldest ghost town, minus the tumbleweeds. All we know is they left their mark, literally, and the rest is a history book left open, waiting for answers that will probably never come. Thank you for sticking through till the end. Let me know in the comment section how you solved any of these mysteries. Or perhaps, what mysteries did I miss? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like button, and if you're interested in more videos like this one, hit the subscribe and notification bell to always know when the new video is up. It's free and you can always change your mind.